Hi everyone, Adarsh here. So this is a first tutorial video on the consumer interfaces. It's a functional interface basically. So the functional interface is something which has one abstract method, and it can have static method, it can have a default method, it can have other things also, and it should be annotated with @ functional interface. So in our Java util in JDK8 we have a java.util.function.consumer in functional interface. So like that, the consumer is something which it takes a one import and performs some operations based on those import, and then does not return the return output of that. So basically, this is the base function. So function is something which takes import, and consumer is something which takes an import and performs some operations on those import, and does not return the output out of that after the performance of that operation. So we in Java, we have in JDK8 we have a function, we have a buy function. So buy function is something which takes two input values and performs some operations, and then does not return anything out of those function. So then we have other type of consumers, like we have int consumer, we have long consumer, we have double consumer in packet, and we have another type of conversion consumers, like object to consumer, object to int consumer, and object to long consumer. So we'll go one by one on all these consumer interfaces and its example. So let's start from the consumer example first. So as I told, that consumer is something which takes input and performs some operations on that and does not return anything. So what, just to demonstrate this behavior, I have just done some piece of code where I'm having a method consumer function which takes input value and a consumer of string type, the consumer which is binded to the string type, and perform some operation on that input value. So the first way is, before JDK8, the first approach is just to implement the consumer, provide the implementation to the consumer, override the accept method and do the operation, and then this is just a normal call to this method, and we are just passing a input value and the consumer instance. Little bit we further optimized, and we had used anonymous classes here, anonymous classes and the input value. But from the JDK8, with the handy tool of lambda expression, what we have done, we have just passed the actual piece of code which we need to perform an operation. We just copy pasted this section and just provide a lambda expression. So that become our third approach. We further go ahead and we have just removed this data type, we have removed this curly braces, and we have removed the semicolon, and that become our fourth approach. But we further move little bit further, and we have just passed the exact piece of code what we need. So that become our fifth approach. So our objective is just to print the data. So if I just execute this piece of code, you can see that there's no difference in the output, but the approach like before JDK8, there are two approach with the implementation, with the anonymous implementation, and then after that lambda expression. So here you can see there's no difference. You can see there's no difference in the output. So this is what after data processed, and this is what before data processed. So I hope this will help you to understand the consumers and what exactly the use of consumer in our application development. So I'll come up with the buy consumer in my next tutorial. Till then, take care. Bye.